yes, another option for doing underslab instead of rigid foam, definitely Roxol, Rockwool, those material are all great. They have it, and in fact, much more environmentally friendly. So with that said, on the Windows part, we typically with the current stretch code and a specialized code, I mean, with the last year change in the code, we recommended 0.25 U factor or lower. With the specialized code now, they're asking for Harris index of 42 or 45, etc. Depends on your fuel, mixed fuel or not. 42 by no means is an easy number to get. So we used to say 0.2, at some point we used to say 0.30 or less. Last year we started saying 0.25 or less. But if you're in a specialized code town or city, definitely you should consider much lower than that, 0.22, 0.20, etc., because you need those extra points to be able to get your project down to low 40s, etc., so you don't have problem with your occupancy. Now, if you're using, I told you, I don't know if I said or not, but if you're planning to use craft face or even dense pack, some areas you need still to foam. For example, behind the bathtub, since most people don't tile it or sheetrock it, etc., you don't have an air barrier. Therefore, we still recommend to foam it. To have the spray foam guy when it comes in to do the rim and banjoes, for example. Make sure you have them to do behind the bathtubs, and then any small cavities also. Less than like 4 inches wide or so, they should just flash it with the foam. It would be much better if you have California corners, those areas, flash it with foam. What else? Outlets. If you have any outlets, wall switches against exterior walls, you should foam it. So, and then you can start doing your dense pack or do your craft face fiberglass. And the paper on the craft face fiberglass, that's a class 2 vapor retarder, and that's what you need. By the way, if you're doing dense pack cellulose or Optima, etc., it's strongly recommended to use Intello, a smart membrane like Intello or as such. Or there's different materials Home Depot sells, but they're similar. They're all a smart membrane, so they work like a valve. They don't let the moisture come to the wall assembly. Doesn't diffuses through the wall assembly. In fact, I was just showing this picture to you. The study that they did. So the diffusion, because of diffusion, moisture can go through the sheetrock, and then it shows that if you are doing a good job on air sealing your wall assembly with the sheetrocks at 70 degrees, 40% relative humidity. They did building science people. They did the research. They found out after 30 days, 1/3 left the quart of water. But but if you have an equivalent on the seams, etc., of 1-inch hole, then you get 30 quarts of water. So the point is that with that Intello material, you can also stop the moisture movement. So Intello, a smart membrane, works like a valve. So it stops the moisture from moving into your wall assembly. But if any water moisture somehow gets into your wall assembly, it's vapor open the other way. So the moisture can be dried out to inside, especially in the winter time when we have a warm, moisture air inside the home and outside is cold and people don't open windows, etc. So you have a lot of moisture accumulation inside the home. So it's good to prevent that from happening. Now, on the roof lines, so anywhere you have a flat roof like this, I assume you're going to do a rubber roof. So usually roofers they do use rigid foam or as such for be able to give it the pitch on the roof for drainage, etc. So our recommendation is if you can do as much as rigid insulation, or I should say continuous insulation, whatever material is structurally sound for your building. Some type of insulation material, if you can do as much as you can on the outside, is much better than doing a cavity insulation. So typically we recommend at least 5-6 inches of continuous insulation on outside on the roof on the low side, and then if you want to pitch it, you can go on the higher side. So for example, if you're R5 per inch for any type of continuous insulation, use R30 here, and the rest you can do it from the cavity. But this R30 has a lot more value than the R30 that you do inside the cavity. And the reason for that is these roof joists, right? These are thermal bridger because the R value of wood is about 1.1 per inch, whereas the insulation rigid that you use usually is R5 per inch or as such. So it stops this thermal bridging all the way around. They are thermal breaker, so it helps so your HERS index a lot, And also it helps your incentives to go up. So Hertz index is going to help to go down, and it helps to maximize your incentives. Now, having said that, so typically we recommend at least R60 on the roof line, and then so this is for the flat section of the roof. The slope section, like these areas, we recommend at least 3-4 inches of closed cell first, and then the rest of the cavity you can do dense pack, cellulose or optima, or you can do open cell foam, etc. And then anytime, let's say if this was a flat ceiling here, if you don't have cathedral ceiling, anytime you have room, we recommend that installation company should go at least 3-4 inches, whatever you can. If you're doing open cell, for example, so you do your 3 inches of closed cell first, and then fill in the cavity with the open cell. Let's say your rafter is 2x12 or 2x10 or 2x8, doesn't matter. In fact, the smaller the rafters are in terms of energy efficiency, you would benefit from it if it's an open attic. So you can do, for example, I would go at least 3-4 inches over the rafters. So that also, remember, it creates a continuous insulation from downside, which also helps your score. So make sure you create that thermal breakers over the rafters. So at the end of the day, basically, you don't want to see any roof rafters or as such. Anyway, so let me see what else. Okay, so let me share my screen now.